don't worry about him. I worry about my man. And I know that Conor Benn can win world titles in divisions below 160. He can sell out any arena in the country. He's one of the biggest, not just boxing stars in Britain, sports stars in Britain now.
But Conor's naturally fiery. Conor has that bit between his teeth. You know, he's his he's his dad's son. His dad was as fiery as they come, and so was Conor. I think if Chris Eubank Jr. was placid and respectful, I think Conor would still be fiery.
Rematches with these types of intense fights taking place, like Conor and Eubank.
I'm trying to pull him.
A rematch right away will probably end their career. You know, it's that intense.
Do you see that fight happening? And do you think Ben won't get the better of Eubank?
I think Conor Benn beats Eubank.
Boxing analysts are predicting that Conor Benn will likely dominate the rematch against Chris Eubank Jr., pointing to Benn's youthful energy and strong determination as key advantages over his opponent. In their first encounter, Benn landed powerful punches that visibly unsettled Eubank Jr., and now, with a refreshed mindset and body, he's aiming not just for redemption but for a decisive victory that shows he has learned from their previous fight.
Are already agreed for the rematch with to move forward, and it's the same as the first contract in that respect. So I think
Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. are set to clash again on Saturday, November 15th, 2025, at London's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, following Eubank Jr.'s unanimous decision victory in April. The long-standing rivals are gearing up for a high-stakes rematch, turning the night into a showdown to settle unfinished business.
Magazine breaking. Ring Magazine has learned Sella completed the deal for the highly anticipated Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch on November 15th in Tottenham Stadium. The event will be presented as The Ring, Unfinished Business. Not gonna lie, they kind of did finish the business the first time around. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr. won, but it was a great fight. It was probably fight of the year or one of the fights of the year, what we've seen this year in 2025. But that being said, it was interesting, and there was always supposed to be a rematch clause, so we're running it back. Also, the event will be promoted by Sella and sponsored by Riyadh Season and The Ring Magazine. Here is the article. First it was off, then on, then off again. Now the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is officially back on. The Ring has learned the deal to see them run it back from their April 26th showdown was completed through Sella on Tuesday. They will have approximately 3 months to prepare for their sequel.
For the upcoming rematch, Chris Eubank Jr. has enlisted coach Brian McIntyre, who famously guided Terence Crawford, to sharpen his strategy and turn a solid win into a decisive statement. McIntyre believes Eubank Jr. will be far sharper this time, bringing a killer instinct mindset and a refined game plan that could give him the edge. He highlighted that Eubank Jr. already had Benn's measure in their first bout, and with this level of preparation, the fight should be more manageable. McIntyre praised Eubank Jr.'s dedication in training, noting his hard work, focus, and genuine drive to win, emphasizing that this camp shows full commitment. Meanwhile, Benn enters the ring fueled by redemption, determined to rewrite the story and prove he belongs at the top rather than settling for a near miss.
Eubank Jr., you're with him for the rematch against Liam Smith. How did it come about, you coming back into camp with him for this one?
Well, while we was finishing up with Crawford, Chris's guys, they hit me up maybe a month out and asked me would I be, interested. And I told them, of course, right away, because, I felt like that me and Chris got a good repertoire together and got a good relationship, and we come out with good results whenever we hook up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, actually. What made you jump straight back into it? I asked Chris almost the same question about you, what it was that he wanted to work with you for. What is it about Chris that you particularly enjoy training or working with?
Well, one thing about Chris when it comes to boxing is he definitely got dog in him. Even though he maybe got 2 or 3 losses, he fights to the nail. He fights to the end, tooth and nail. It's not hard to get him to do anything because it's always yes coach, yes coach, yes coach. Go in there and you get in the day in the gym is wonderful because you ain't got to yell at him or nothing. We just go to what we need to go to and we get the job done.
How much would you say your relationship with him has evolved from kind of working with him first time to now working with him for a second time?
I think it's beautiful now. He's talking a little bit more in camp, so that just makes it seem like he's...
British middleweight Hamza Shiraz has voiced confidence in Conor Benn's prospects against Chris Eubank Jr. in the upcoming rematch, noting that Benn's aggressive style and relentless pressure could be decisive. Shiraz, who has also expressed interest in facing Eubank Jr. himself, sees Benn's approach as a potential key to securing victory.
Won't get the better of Eubank?
I think Conor Benn beats Eubank, but I kind of need Eubank to win. Do you know what I mean? For myself, from a selfish perspective, I need him to win.
Did you want to fight him?
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be the first defence if you win that, or when you win that WBC title? Is that someone that you would choose?
100%. 100%. As long as obviously everyone's okay with it, it'd be that. I mean, why not? It'd be the biggest fight for me next in boxing, and I haven't got long left in the 160-pound division, so it's not me going on about taking certain defences.
On TalkSport, Dave Caldwell analyzed the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, noting that while Eubank Jr. might seem to have the advantage due to his size, several factors could play in Benn's favor. Caldwell highlighted Benn's relentless pace and accuracy, which could be especially dangerous if Eubank struggles with his weight cut or tires late in the fight. Though he stopped short of making a definitive prediction, he emphasized that Benn has a real opportunity to capitalize if Eubank Jr. isn't at his peak, making the matchup unpredictable and highly exciting.
I think the bigger man should win, but the bigger man's he's not great himself. You know, when we talk about a good big and beats a good little one, listen, you've got to remember, Eubank's not great. And in his last fight, I thought he looked old. It's the first time I've looked at him.
In Riyadh, I agree with you. He got
Gareth, I thought he looked old.
Yeah.
I thought he looked old.
Yeah.
And if age is catching up on you, and listen, don't forget, his father has always banged on about him sparring heavyweights. When they were working together, and it was always talking, he spars heavyweights, he stands there as well. That shortens your lifespan in boxing. That has an effect. And if time has now come onto it, he's 35 years old, he's struggling to make the weight. Time comes onto you, you've got again, Benn might not be the biggest ever.
While some expect the bigger fighter to have the edge, many point out that Chris Eubank Jr. isn't necessarily at his peak. Observers noted that he appeared older in his last fight, and years of intense training, including sparring heavyweights, can take a toll on a boxer's body over time. At 35 and struggling to make weight, Eubank Jr. may feel the effects of age, which could give Conor Benn, who may be smaller but is fresher and highly motivated, a real opportunity to challenge him in the rematch.
Went up to fight Gennady Golovkin at middleweight. Guess what? There was a hydration clause with the IBF, and Gennady Golovkin makes it absolutely easily, as will Chris Eubank. But it's just, that's our job, and no need to moan about it. If you didn't want to do it, you didn't have to have it in there. But they know it's not a big deal. But who is at the bigger disadvantage? Conor Benn. He's coming up 2 divisions, and Chris Eubank just weighs in what he always weighs in. That whole they're stripping him down to 160. It's his fucking weight. I don't understand. Stop listening to Simon Jordan.
It's a mismatch. It's an entertaining matchup.
Why is it a mismatch?
Because of ability, because of weight classes. Chris Jr. is a middleweight and a super middleweight. He's naturally a super middleweight. So, he's having to starve himself to come down, and with all the catch weights and all of this stuff, it's a mismatch. He is operated at world level. He's been in with the likes of George Groves, and the list goes on.
Many experts, including Eddie Hearn, have noted that Conor Benn faces a significant challenge in his rematch against Chris Eubank Jr., as he must move up 2 weight divisions. Adjusting to the added power, endurance demands, and physicality of naturally bigger opponents is often difficult, and Eubank Jr. is fully comfortable at this weight, making the fight an uphill battle. The size and weight difference raises questions about Benn's ability to handle the super middleweight level, and many see the matchup as potentially favoring Eubank Jr. due to his experience and natural advantage in this division.
And the hatred that he has, and I know when you really dislike someone, it brings something out of you. But I'm looking forward to that fight, for the simple fact is, that event within itself is fantastic because it's crossed over. Lots of people are talking about it. Everywhere you go, people are talking about it. There is nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely excellent. And plus, I can remember when the two fathers first fought, and the second time is when they fought in October of of '93. But when the fathers first fought, when they first went at it, I remember that fight clearly in my head. It was a Sunday night. It was at November 18th, 1990, and it was like, it seemed like the world stopped to watch that fight. And this has drawn something from it because everybody's talking about it. And fair play to both men. They're selling the fight really well, which is genuine. It's not orchestrated. Oh, you're going to do this. No, it's proper.